What if the second half of life could be better than the first? This isn't something that we usually think about. I think we've been conditioned to think about the second half of life as a decline, kind of like the beginning of the end. Or maybe it's a time to sort of sit back and just kind of kick back and not have so much to do or so many responsibilities. But what if we shifted that narrative? What if we changed that to looking at the second half of life could be better than the first? By better, I mean, that's a subjective word, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean easier. It means better. Better in the sense that you're not driven by the same imperatives that forced you to do things in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and into your 50s, but you're able to have more options available to yourself. There's going to be less having to prove identity, who you think you are, who you think you need to be, who you think you're becoming. There's more of an aspect of simply being and not so much doing. And when we're able to shift into that, this idea of not being in that rat race, not pursuing, goals of status and all of those things, that life starts to take on a little bit of a better quality to it. So better can look like quality of life. How is it shifting and changing for the better? Now, if you're in a position, a job, and I talk to lots of guys, and you can be in work that no longer is fulfilling. Maybe you've done it for decades, and you're just like done. You want out. You're wanting to live that retirement dream. All well and good, but at the same time, you need to have a bit of a plan, because getting into that stage of life and just thinking that everything's going to be hunky dory, peachy keen, all of that stuff is a bit of a misstep. So, what you want to be thinking about is, how am I going to make this next stage of life better? And that might look like, well, starting to have a plan, connecting to purpose. And if you're not sure about what that looks like, there's lots of ways that you can explore that. Reach out to me and I can give you some really good tools to work with. And moving forward in a way that is more aligned with your inner being, more soul aligned, less about the checklist of things you need to approve that are externally or achieve, I should say, that are externally driven, and more about maybe creating that checklist for the internal stuff that's been maybe not addressed as much as it could have been in the earlier stages of your life up to now. So when we're in this stage, I would suggest that there's a few things we want to be looking for to make the second half better than the first. And it's less about proving. It's less about proving who you are. You don't need to prove. What you need to do is, if you're not already there, have that deeper sense of, well, why am I here? What is this life journey about? What is the legacy? And legacy is a nebulous one, because sometimes people think of legacy as these big, grandiose, especially money attached to them and all of that stuff. But what imprint do you want to leave behind, or footprint do you want to leave behind when you're gone? Um, so that idea can be really, really good. And then, well, what are the skills or the things you need to do to get there between now and that final day? And we don't know when the final day is going to be. So this is all just a matter of positive, forward thinking, looking into the future in a way that's more roadmap ish than kind of like a checklist of things you've got to prove to yourself. So when we're operating in this way and we're seeing this stage of life through that lens, then it provides us with more freedom as well, a freedom to explore, a freedom to expand, to get out of the cage that's been keeping us, committed to all of our responsibilities, all the things we had to do, all the things we had to achieve uh, at, to arrive to where we are today. Some of you will be there. You'll have all the accoutrement. You'll have all of the properties, the cars, the bank accounts, all of that stuff. A lot of us won't. And so it's a matter of, well, what is that going to look like then? How am I going to rest in where I'm at and feel that comfort and that freedom in that. And a lot of that is just finding this sense of deeper meaning and purpose in life, because that's where the riches lie. The riches, sorry, they don't lie in the size of your bank account. They don't lie in the size of your home or the neighborhood that you live in. They lie within you, within this home. This thing, this is your ultimate home. This is the home of your soul, right? So whatever's going on here is what's really, really important. The inner stuff is really important in this stage in life. And when we get here, another thing that adds to a better time is that there's less of the comparing going on. There's a lot more compassion. We can be more compassionate with ourselves and our own journeys. And we don't need to look at other people and have that sort of coveting their stuff kind of view, because we're mature enough at this stage to recognize that's their path. That's not mine. Good for them that they achieved X, Y, and Z. I've got this, and I've achieved my own things that I'm entirely grateful for. And when we're starting to be in that mode, less comparison, coveting, whatever you want to call it, more just alignment with who you are and who you are continuing to become, then this is the place of freedom, as I just said. This is the roadmap to living more authentically. And when we're living with authenticity, that is better living, period. And it's not to say that you're not living with authenticity or you haven't been, but oftentimes it's been driven by factors maybe outside of yourself. Maybe it's been driven by the career path that you've been in. Maybe it's been driven by a number of things. It could be relationship stuff. It could be financial stuff. But when you start to connect with that deeper sense of purpose and meaning and being, this is your true authentic nature. And that is really the pathway to better quality in your life. We can let go of maybe some of those things that we thought were important before and now recognize that's not as important as I thought it was. And again, checking in with that stuff is really, really helpful. There can also be a simplicity that comes with this stage in life where some of the things that we thought we would always be interested in doing and participating in, they lose interest. But in that losing interest, I would caution, make sure that you're finding the new aspects to fulfill or to fill in some of those voids or gaps where you've let go of some of the stuff from the past. Letting go is a really big, important part of this part of your life. If you're continuing to hang on to things that were bringing you a lot of great gratitude or a lot of participation and things that were working for you in your 20s, 30s, and 40s and into your 50s, and for some reason they're not fitting anymore and you're struggling with that, it's okay to let them go. It's okay to let them go. But make sure that you've got other things that are filling in this part. Otherwise, that can lead to a heaviness of energy, some depression and things. And we don't want that. Plug into the Wisdom Trust community where we're having conversations about, well, what does it mean to be an elder in the gay world at this stage in time when we've got all this crazy going on out there? How are we going to support each other? Some of us don't have, partners or families that are there supporting us. So maybe that's building that community and that network that's really, really helpful. So all of that to say, when we look at the second half, we can intentionally make it better than the first half. And think about maybe creating, as I said, a checklist of things that are going to help you that way, that are going to move you forward that way. And the letting go is an important part of that, as I said. So here's the question I'll leave you with. What are you ready to leave behind so that you can embrace the next chapter more fully? What are you ready to leave behind so that you can embrace the next chapter more fully? It can be a scary question, but it's an important one. And I would love to hear what your responses are to it. You can go ahead and share those here in the comments or reach out, join the community, join the Wisdom Trust community, share it in there. We'll talk to you.